Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. And if this is your first time here, I'm glad you're joining us. Today, we're continuing our series where I walk you step by step through how to build an online business from the ground up. Today, we're diving into one of the most powerful and often overlooked skills in entrepreneurship, mastering market research. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to gather real data, how to interpret it, and how to use it to make smarter decisions that set your business up for long-term success. If you want to avoid guesswork and build your business with confidence, this is the video you don't want to miss. All right, let's get started. All right, let's talk about the entrepreneur's playbook for market research. And look, I want us to think about this a little differently right from the start. This isn't some boring chore you have to slog through. No, this is your secret weapon. It's the strategic playbook you build to make sure your amazing idea actually makes it. So let's be real. Every single person with a big idea has had this exact thought. You've poured everything into this concept. You're convinced it's a game changer. And then, usually around 3 in the morning, that little voice creeps in and asks, yeah, but is anyone actually going to pay for this? That's the big fear, right? And market research. Well, that's the answer. So what is it really? At its core, market research is all about de-risking your dream. It's the process of systematically swapping out your own assumptions for cold, hard facts from real people. It's about finding out what they truly want and need before you sink a ton of time and money into building something that nobody's asking for. Okay, so here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to cover the basics. Then we'll jump into the 3 key plays in the playbook. Really knowing your customer, mapping out the competition, and then actually gathering the data. And finally, we'll get to the best part, the payoff, which is turning all that info into a real action plan. First things first, let's get the foundation right. What are we even talking about when we say market research? Well, it really all boils down to 2 main ways you can gather information. I really like this slide because it just lays it out so clearly. Think of it like this. On one side, you've got primary research. That's you playing detective, hitting the streets, and gathering your own first-hand clues. And on the other side, you've got secondary research. That's you being a scholar, digging through the archives and reports that other people have already put together. And spoiler alert, you're going to need both. Let's dig into primary research for a second. This is where you're creating brand new data from scratch. You might kick things off with some really open-ended exploratory interviews, just trying to figure out what problems are even out there. Then, once you've kind of zeroed in on something, you can get way more specific with targeted surveys or focus groups to really truly understand it. Now, secondary research is all about using information that's already out there. This could be public data, from places like the Census Bureau. It could be fancy commercial reports from big firms. But, and this is a gold mine that people forget, it can also be your own internal data. Seriously, your past sales numbers and customer info are packed with clues about what people might want next. All right, let's open up the playbook. Step 1, and honestly, this is the most important step of all. You have to know your customer. I mean, really know them. Everything. And I mean, everything flows from this. And the best tool for the job is building what we call a buyer persona. So what is a buyer persona? It's way more than just a list of stats. Think of it as a fictional character you create that represents your perfect customer. You give them a name, a job, a backstory. The whole point is to stop thinking about a faceless audience and start visualizing a real person. Because when you do that, every single decision you make, from your marketing to your product features, becomes so much easier. Now, to build a really solid persona, you need 2 kinds of details. You start with the basics, the demographics, age, location, income, those types of details. But where the real magic happens is with the psychographics, the things that actually drive them. What are their biggest headaches? What are their goals? What keeps them up at night? That's where you find the insights that change the whole game. Okay, so once you have a deep understanding of who you're selling to, the very next play is to map out the entire playground. Who else is out there? Who's already trying to solve your customer's problem? And listen, understanding your competition isn't about copying them. It's about finding your own unique, unbeatable spot in the market. Now, it's super important to realize that not all competitors are the same. We can break them down into 3 simple categories. Your primary competitors, those are the obvious ones. They're chasing the same people with a similar product. Secondary competitors might have a product like yours, but they're aiming at a totally different market. And tertiary competitors, they're kind of indirectly related, but they're still part of your customer's world. So it's smart to know who they are. So how do you actually analyze all these different players in a structured way? Well, there's a classic tool that is just unbelievably effective for this. It's called a SWOT analysis. This little grid is so powerful because it's so simple. It forces you to look at two things: the internal stuff you can control, your strengths and weaknesses, and the external stuff you can't control, the opportunities and threats out in the market. So for a competitor, a strength might be their huge brand, but a weakness could be their terrible customer service. An opportunity might be a new trend, while a threat could be a new player entering the game. When you map this all out, you start to see the gaps, the places where you can win. All right, time for our final play. We know our customer and we've mapped out the playground. So now what? How do we actually go out and get the data to fill in all the blanks? Let's talk about the tools of the trade. Look, there's a million tools out there, but let's focus on a killer starter kit. Think of these four as your go-tos. Google Keyword Planner literally tells you what people are searching for. Google Trends can show you if your idea is, say, a summer-only thing. Tools like Ubersuggest are awesome for basically spying on your competitors' strategies, and you should never, ever underestimate a simple social media search. It's a direct pipeline into raw, unfiltered customer conversations. And check this out. Here's a little pro tip that shows you just how powerful this can be. Look at this search you can do on Facebook. You're not just looking up Nike, you're asking a much smarter question. What else do people who like Nike also like? The answers you get can show you new marketing ideas like who you could partner with. You get a whole lifestyle snapshot you would have totally missed otherwise. It's brilliant. So we've come to the most important part, because all this research is completely worthless if it just sits in a report on your desktop. The real payoff, the whole point of this, is turning that mountain of data into sharp, clear decisions that actually move your business forward. And here's a super simple 5-step recipe to make that happen. 1. Start with your original goals. Why'd you do this in the first place? 2. Make a description of everyone you researched and talked to. 3. Write up a quick summary of the biggest aha moments. 4. Pull out the main themes that kept popping up. And 5. The most critical step of all, the action plan. What are you going to do next week, next month, or next quarter? Get specific. So we're going to leave you with this final thought. You've gone through the playbook. You've got all these new insights. The question on the screen isn't just some nice idea, it's a challenge. Based on what you now know about your customer, your competition, and the market, what is the very first real-world decision you're going to make to turn all that knowledge into action? Because that right there is where the real work begins. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks so much for watching. I genuinely appreciate you being here. If this video helps you, and you've been watching this series because you really want to build something of your own, then I want to share something with you. The How to Start an Online Business Master Academy course was created for people exactly like you. People who have the drive and the ideas, but want real guidance, real clarity, and real support along the way. Inside the Master Academy course, I've taken everything I've learned over the years of building online businesses and put it into a step-by-step program that's simple, structured, and meant to remove the overwhelm. You're not just watching lessons, you're working through guided exercises, templates, and practical examples that help you move forward with confidence. If you're at the point where you're ready to stop hesitating and start building the future you've imagined, I truly believe this Master Academy course can make that journey easier and clearer. You can find all the details in the link below. Take a look and see if it feels right for you. And if this video supported you in any way, it would mean a lot if you liked, subscribed, and turned on notifications so I can keep helping you in the next videos of this series. Thank you again for spending your time here. I'll see you in the next one or inside the Master Academy. Thanks again.